It's top of hour number 3 is one of my favorites, and I'm not just saying that because he's potentially listening to me to introduce him. On his bye week, kind enough to join us is Sean McVay, head coach of the Los Angeles Rams.
What's up, Coach?
There he is.
How are you, man?
What's up, Rich?
How are you, pal? How's it going?
I'm good. I'm just sitting in my kitchen right now, so I got a nice little. I don't know what this is behind me, but it looks like it's going to grow on me any second.
Yeah.
It's like a living wall.
Wait a minute. That doesn't mean you're not in charge of what's on the walls in your house, or you have a little say, or you just leave it?
I have no say. Zero say.
Sean,
I am certainly not the head coach at my own house, and I'm more than happy to accept that.
Me too. There's one item in my house. One item in my house. It's a chair that I brought to the relationship 25 years ago, Sean. Okay?
That's Old Faithful.
That's what I mean. You know what I mean? Everything else is just I have nothing to do with it. I'm just a resident. You know what I mean? So I'm with you. I'm with you.
I do know what you mean. I know exactly what you mean.
Well, it's good to see you, man. First things first, about the London game, the conversation around your plan to, stay on the East Coast after playing the Ravens, work out in Camden Yards, and then show up the day before the game. There was a lot of questions about, like, if that's the right thing to do, and you guys crushed it. I'm wondering, have you already gotten calls from other East Coast teams about giving them your information about sleep and planning so they can copycat what you just did, Sean?
I didn't realize what a big deal was made of it until after the game, but here's what I would say is I have a ton of trust in Reggie Scott, our group behind the scenes that is responsible for sports performance and really trying to understand how do we make this not as much of a big deal for our players where we can try to keep a normal rhythm and routine, even though you're staying in Baltimore. But what we have been accustomed to when we're kicking off at 2:30 in London is going from the from the West Coast to East Coast, kicking out off at 10 a.m. in our body clocks. So what we did was we basically just adjusted and said, all right, let's get acclimated to the East Coast. And because they kick off at 2:30, it's a 3.5 hour time difference. And so it's very similar to things that we had done. Yeah. And ultimately it's about our players. They handled it like studs, but I have gotten, hit up about it, and I'm not going to tell them anything.
I was about to say, man. I was about to say, because this is a copycat league. And, I've done all these London games, and everyone's like, we're going to get there first thing. Or we're not going to get there until 2 days before. And you're the first to basically say, you know what, we're going to hang on the East Coast the entire week, and then we're just going to fly in for the game, sleep, and play, and go home. And
like those special ops. We were just in and out before you knew it.
You were like Ocean's 11, and your 11 were on each side of the ball, man. You flew over the ocean was the Atlantic, and the 11 was on either side of the ball for you, man. And it worked out. And Stafford is just unbelievable. I can't believe this was a guy who had back pain in the summer that made people think he might not answer a bell. He's been maybe the best he's ever been. What's it been like from your perspective?
He's been awesome. What's funny is he was telling me before the game that a couple of the coaches on the other staff said, yeah, that was really nice of Sean to basically fake a back injury for you so that you could just miss camp. He's like, what the hell are you talking about? The back injury was real. I think there's this narrative that we were just faking it because he's played so well. He's been awesome, though, Rich. I think the first thing I would say is he's done a great job of taking care of himself. He is feeling good, but he's in total command. And this guy enjoys the game. He certainly doesn't have to be playing. He enjoys his teammates. He enjoys competing. I think he's seeing the field really well. I don't think there's ever been a time that there's more multiple looks that defenses are presenting than what we've seen over the last year. And that's a credit to just the volume that people are carrying and how hard it is to get a beat on what they're doing. But to be 17-2 touchdowns, the picks, and he's really had a lot of plays where, they're not turnover worthy. So, that's a real stat. Sometimes you can see guys get away with that, but he's a stud. And I'm certainly grateful, and I'm going to cherish every moment for however long he wants to play. But I don't take for granted how lucky I am to be able to coach a guy like him.
Well, we had Devontae Adams in our broadcast meeting Zoom after we chatted with you last week, Sean, and he told Kurt Warner that Rodgers is the quarterback with the best arm he's ever had, but he said that Stafford's superpower, the best he's ever seen at manipulating a defense with his eyes, with his mannerisms? What have you seen on that front that you could sort of add to that?
He's incredible. Well, he's the best in both for what I've been around, and he's just so special. I think he's so smart. I think that's the one thing, and you and I have talked about this before, Rich. He's obviously, well respected for this gunslinger, this tough competitor. He takes hits, he gets up. But he's so smart. I think that's the one thing. People don't realize how hard he works at it, how he's accumulated this knowledge of inventory that he's able to replicate from years. But he'll be the first to tell you, when he first started, there's so many ways that Calvin Johnson was getting doubled in creative ways that coverage contours played out. And he wants to throw to him, and they know it. And I've got to figure out a way to be able to do that when there's usually 2 or 3 people paying attention to him. And I think a lot of the manipulation of coverage and understanding how to move people opposite of where you're trying to get them to go was foundationally started from him and Calvin playing together. But I think that's an athletic intuition that he has that's pretty unique and special, and it's a credit to him. And I remember Mahomes, mentioning to me when I saw him, the balls that he had to be able to bring that out. It's one thing to do it when you got the games in hand, but to do it in crunch time on a game-winning drive to win the Super Bowl. And now it's kind of been old hat, and he has fun with it, and everybody knows he's doing it, and he still finds a way to be able to get people to move to where he wants. He's special.
What's your collaboration with him like, coming up with a game plan? What's that like?
Well, I'll tell you what, we went to, it's really, what do you like? And that's what we're going to do. But we went to do a walkthrough at Wembley, and, obviously the Jags go play there, but, you got people with Jags t-shirts on, and I think Gladstone might've been in the upper deck suites when we were walking through on Saturday. So I told the players, I said, we're not going to do much stuff here. This just feels a little weird. I said, why don't you make up a cool play? Make up a cool trick play, Matthew. He makes up a trick play in about 10 seconds, and I'm thinking to myself, Rich, shows you really what an idiot I am. That would have taken me 8 hours to come up with on a Tuesday. He comes up with it in 10 seconds. I'm thinking, man, I really don't know what my value is here when we've got a guy like him, but it truly is a collaboration. He just has such a capacity and an understanding and an ownership of what we're trying to get done. He can watch film and say, these are the types of spots or areas we want to get to. And when you have a guy like that, he can get you in and out of stuff. He obviously has the autonomy to be able to get in and out of different looks at all times based on the different situations that arise. And I don't take for granted how lucky I am to have somebody that when you make a decision that's not necessarily right, he can make it right with the autonomy and ownership he has and his ability to be able to get it communicated to his other 10 teammates in real time.
Well, I'd have my host card taken away if I didn't follow up. Is that now in your playbook, that thing that he drew up?
It might show up, in a theater near you, because I thought to myself, that's actually a pretty damn good idea. So we might have to implement this one.
All right. So if there's a trick play at any point during the rest of this season, I need to sit there and think, is that what Stafford came up whole cloth in Wembley?
I'll shoot you a text and say, that's the one. Give him his proper, his proper credit.
Okay. Fantastic. Sean McVay here on the Rich Eisen Show. Also in that broadcast meeting with you, you talked about how Puka Nacua being out was going to be a challenge for you and your staff, about how you maybe became a little bit Puka dependent because he's so damn good. And you then have 10 different guys catch a football in this game, including 2 rookies for touchdowns. First time in 5 years the Rams had that. So did you check the box? Did you accomplish what you wanted?
I think it was really cool. I think what ended up happening is sometimes these things that are challenges can be blessings in disguise. And what I mean by that is we're always going to have Puka when he's up as a focal point, but also, hey, let's not in the meantime lose sight of, we've got Puka, we've got Devontae, but we've got these other eligibles that we want to take advantage of. And my dad's talked to me about this before. We always talk about everybody likes being a part of something bigger than themselves, but as long as they feel like their role contributes, and we've got these great players that we want to take advantage of. And I thought that was illustrated by being able to have multiple personnel groupings, multiple guys involved where they've got some plays where they could maybe be the primary in a progression. And then it allows those other guys to be a little bit fresher. Devontae was outstanding with the targets he had, but I also think it's a credit to, hey, he was able to get maybe some snaps us off otherwise. It'll be the same thing reflected with Puka moving forward. And I was really happy for the guys. And I thought Matthew did a great job of basically just being a great point guard, getting everybody involved, going where the ball should go. And to have that many people involved is a real credit to, the depth of our players that we do have. And I'm excited about that moving forward.
Yeah. And in terms of, you also told a story about Jared Verse first 2 weeks, maybe thinking a little bit more than just being natural, and you showed him some footage of last year, right? And
absolutely
right, and your point in that was what with him?
Here's the point. I think sometimes when you're a young guy and you have all this success, you feel like you have to reimagine and really kind of add layers to your game. And in the midst of that, you can almost forget about what allowed you to be you in the first place. That's natural, and the way that you work, there'll be just a natural progression. And so it's all with the right intentions. But I think sometimes it's, hey, remember who you are. Let's see you doing the things that are in alignment with who you need to be. You don't need to make things up. You don't need to add all these different things to your game. Let's understand what makes you great. What are the things that have naturally occurred just based on your work ethic and your approach? And I think sometimes seeing is more powerful than anything we could say. We sat down, we were able to watch some great examples of stuff that he's done at a high clip. And I think it's getting back to, no, don't press, every single snap, 4 to 6 seconds, man, go do your thing and play to the best of your ability, your pre-snap demeanor, the way that you violently attack based on whatever that call is. And he's done an awesome job. He's such a likable guy. When he comes on here, you can see he's got this personality. He never shuts up, but that's who he is all the time. And you love him for that. And I've been really proud of the way that he's responded. He's so coachable. He's so accountable. And he is a great challenge because of how smart he is. But he's really played at a high clip. I think he and Byron Young have really done an outstanding job overall, Rich. And I thought you felt that. And I told him, I said, why are you waiting so long to get that sack out of the way? Why don't you just do it like you did in the Jags game every single game?
Yeah, I know. He first set of downs, he did it. And by the way, since that film session with you, a sack in every single game, including a forced fumble in 3 of them. And I'm glad you brought up Byron Young. I was about to as well. He's the one who's tied with Brian Burns for the most sacks in the league. What about this kid? He doesn't get a lot of run or discussion. He's in year 3, another Les Snead hitting on a draft choice with you guys. What about him? I don't know much about him. Sean?
Yeah, he's a special player. He's a special human. I think Joe Caniglia does such a great job with that group overall, Rich. But really, when you look at the edges of our defense, with Byron and with Jared, I think they play off of one another. They're like the Bash brothers. They're always together. But I think there's a good complement. They're both really physical players, but BY has this great set of athleticism. I mean, he's a legitimate 4-4 guy. He can, he's got an understanding of where does he fit within some of the different movements. And I think we're really rushing 4 as 1, or if we're sending more. And he's just made the most of his opportunities. I think he's played consistent. Like, he's gotten those sacks, but he's playing really productive in both phases, to stop the run, to rush the passer. He does some different things when he drops into coverage based on some simulated pressures or overloads that we'll bring. And he's really played consistent, and he's one of those guys that when you spend time with him, you can't help but love him. And really, I feel that way about both he and Verse.
All right, so in a couple minutes I have left with you, Sean. I know you don't have time to sort of self-reflect here, but I'll try it anyway with you, because one of the things we had as a graphic on a screen of the broadcast during the game in London was, obviously Liam Cohen from your staff. He's under 40. You're 39, and we had a list of the 5 youngest coaches in the NFL. You're still on that list. The other 4, though, were in either year 1 or year 2. You're in year 9. You're in year 9. So it is crazy. But so how do you still like it? I mean, obviously, I know you're really energetic, and you got that smile there, but year 9, you can burn out. I mean, John Madden's that perfect example in that regard. You know what I mean? But how are you handling that?
I'll tell you what, I think there's been some times, Rich, that, and we've talked about that I went through, where you lose perspective. You come in and you're so young and you have that unobstructed mind. You don't even know the things to worry about. It's just such a blessing. You're able to be a part of some teams that did some really cool stuff. And then in the midst of that journey, you can almost lose sight of it, and you can get caught up in, hey, this is about being transformational, not transactional. I do think that, me having a family and, you're continuing to mature and grow just as a man. When you get hired at 30 years old, I made a ton of mistakes. there's been some things that you want to replicate, but I think I have a healthier perspective on what a blessing this is and how much I love this game and how many blessings it's brought me. But most importantly, the people that I've been able to develop relationships in the midst of this journey, the impact that you want to make. And I talk to our team about this all the time. We try to say all the time, hey, let's be grateful, let's be present, and let's keep doing hard things. And that's what the NFL entails. I love this job, but most importantly, I love the people that I'm doing it with. I love these players. I love the coaches. I love working with Les Snead going into year 9. I love working with Tony Pastores and Kevin Demoff. I love working for Stan Kroenke and Josh Kroenke, and I really do love it. I think there was moments when I got a little bit misguided, and I wasn't the person that I want to be, and I still have moments all the time that I mess up. But there's a much more of a healthier perspective and appreciation for what this job is. And I don't take for granted how lucky I am to be into year 9 and to continue to really love what you're doing and to feel like there's a real purpose based on the relationships that are built in that journey. And, it's a lot more fun winning those games. Don't get me wrong, but there's a lot of cool stuff that I think I have a better perspective and appreciation for that maybe I didn't cherish as much in the earlier years. And sometimes some of the success we had early on, I think made me lose that perspective.
How old is Jordan John McKay right now, Sean?
You know what? Jordan John turns 2 years old on the 24th this week.
Okay,
big birthday. Got trucks.
Oh.
We got dinos. It's going to be a big day at the McVay household.
Dinos.
Yeah.
Dinos, huh? Okay.
That's right.
He's 2. Bouncy house? We got a bouncy house going on?
Oh, we'll have a bounce house. I think Dad will be in there more than Jordan. But
be careful,
it'll
man.
be great.
Wait a minute. Didn't you hurt your foot? You got to be careful in that bouncy house.
Hey,
you gotta be careful.
I'm like Hulk. I heal quick.
I should know that. Is that why? Last thing for you, because listen, I noticed these things. You're in the rain. Put up the photograph. I was just so impressed that the hair is stained. I mean, in the rain for 3.5 hours, and the headset. But what is that pomade made out of, man? Cement?
You know
what
what?
is that? What
Kevin
is that?
O'Connell, when we played the Niners last year on Thursday night, Kevin O'Connell's oldest son asked him the same thing. He said, how does Coach McVay's hair not move even when it's wet? I'll never tell, Rich. I'll never tell.
All right, secret to the
Never
trade. You could tell me. It's not like I'm going to use it. You know what I mean? Like,
see, if I could pull that off, though, I'd just go the easy route and shave the head, too. You've been doing that at a high clip for a long time, my friend.
You're the best, Sean. Thanks for the time. I appreciate you spending time of your bye week, your off time with me, man. I appreciate it.
Hey, thanks for having me on. It was good catching up with you in the production meeting, too.
Thanks, pal. Right back at you. And enjoy the birthday. Enjoy the birthday with your wife and everybody else.
Will do. Appreciate you, man.
You got that Sean McVay. We now know what he's going to be doing on his off weekend.
Love it.